Hello, everybody, and welcome back to your social media compass. My name is Jacqueline Baker, and I'm joined here by my friend Angelina Tadros. How are you today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Of course, I'm so excited that we're gonna have a conversation.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here too.
Okay, awesome. So why don't you tell everyone listening who are you, what you do, what makes you awesome, all the good stuff.
Okay, so I'm Angelina and I'm the founder of Socially Formal, which is I call it a social media consultancy. And that's where I help businesses build strong digital presence through strategic social media.
Wonderful. And tell us, how did you get into that?
Initially, I wasn't into marketing at all. I started as a civil engineer, and I worked in the space for 13 years. And then I was finally fed up with it because it was so stressful. I love the problem solving aspect, but I just did not love the physics and then the constant demand in the job, especially the stamping part. So eventually, when COVID hit, I had some time to reflect and I just thought, like, I don't know if I can do this for the rest of my life. Like, I need to do something that I'm really interested in. And then I've always wanted to be a fashion buyer, completely different, not even closely related. But I decided to pursue it full on. So I went back to online school, basically, the same school I went to before, and I studied retail management. And then after completing that, I started my own online boutique, which I think that was maybe like every woman's dream to have, maybe not every woman's, but a lot of women's dream to have their own clothing store. What about you, Jacqueline? Was that your?
I literally feel the exact same way. I was like, that
Yeah.
would be fun.
So while starting this store, I had to do marketing and and I didn't even, at that time, I didn't even have social media. Like, I haven't had it for 10 years. And back in the days when I had it, I just posted pictures of my friends and my pets. So I had no clue about it. But then the moment I started learning what it was, it had so much like strategy in it. And I was listening to all these social media gurus, and they tell you like you should post at this time and then you should write it in a specific way. Like, I just thought you can write it whatever way you want, but no, there's a specific way you have to write it. And learning all these things and seeing the results it was giving for my store, I just like fell in love with marketing. And then I decided to see like, okay, well, maybe I can get a client here and there. And I did. It actually went better for me than the store itself. And that's basically how I started the social media as a service.
Are we the same person? Because literally almost the exact same thing happened to me. I, yeah, so I was doing freelance makeup for a little bit for like weddings and events and stuff like that. And then at the time, my clients were saying you should be on social media to help promote what you do. You'd be so good at it. And I was like, no, no, thanks. I have zero interest. But after being, nagged for a while, I was like, okay, fine. And I realized that I loved doing the social media so much more than actually doing the makeup. So I did a little switcho changeo. I did a program at a school here in Toronto for digital marketing, and I dove right in, and I have no regrets.
That's amazing. It's always that one client or a friend that pushes you, right?
I
I,
know, because I was being pushed like so hard, and I was at the time so frustrated. I was like, "Stop, leave me alone." But it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
yeah, I feel like there's maybe 3 years ago there's this like a stigma with social media manager. Like, what does that mean? Like, does that mean like you don't have a job? But it is a job, and it's like very important job, right?
Yes, because I started 8 years ago, so at that time it wasn't really super common.
Yeah. That must have been hard. Like, what did you tell your family? Like, you're like, okay, well, now I'm a social media manager.
No, they were thrilled. They were like, "That's awesome."
That's really good. Because I feel like there's a lot, what's happening is like part of me going to engineering is that you have this, like, you grow up with this notion that you have to have a stable 9 to 5 job. And if you don't have that, then, you're not going to make any money and then you're just not going to have a home, right? But it's a lot different nowadays.
For sure. Because going out on your own, it also I feel is different than it used to be because there's just so many different options and ways to get clients.
Yes, because we're all connected digitally now, right?
Yeah, because back in the day, if you wanted to promote yourself, you'd have to like get a spot in the newspaper, the radio, and that could be super expensive. But now anyone could basically promote themselves on social media for free.
Yeah, that's right. I feel like the whole outreach has changed. Like you had to be almost either have a lot of money or know people, but now like anyone can start, on Instagram or LinkedIn, and then start posting so that to attract people and they will show up on businesses' feeds, right?
Yeah, like of course it's like a huge time commitment. Like I won't say that it's not, but I feel like it's still a lot more reasonable than again spending an arm and a leg on, a radio advertisement or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can also have it the way you want. Like that's the one thing. Like you can have your own visuals. Yeah, you can partner with people to have the visuals. Like I didn't in the beginning, I didn't know, but there's so many, film editors or like film makers. There's like all of these little companies that are starting, and then they'll go to your business and then they'll film content for you and edit it so beautifully, like a full production, for a movie.
I know, like I have a 1 minute trailer video and it was very easy to do. It was super simple, but I love it.
Yeah. So do you like what do you think is your favorite part of the social media?
Mm, I feel like I'm the kind of person who likes when things are constantly changing. If I do the same thing for too long, my mind just kind of loses interest. So the fact that things change a lot, I find very interesting.
You know what? I find that I have that in common with you. I don't like to be stagnant. Like I need things constantly moving. Like I'm always looking to learn something new.
I know, like whenever I learn a new software, I feel like I'm so excited and I'm like, yay, this is so fun.
Is that how like the podcast came about?
Kind of, that was also like, yeah, it was very similar to that actually, because I saw lots of other people were doing them and they were successful and enjoying it. And I thought to myself, hey, why not?
Yeah. I could not imagine it. Like if you asked me 5 years ago if I would ever be on a podcast, I would be like, you're crazy. Absolutely not. Because speaking is such a like it was a terror for me and for a lot of people, I'm sure.
I don't know, no, it still scares me too sometimes, but I feel like it's a bit easier when you're just having a conversation like we are right now versus like sitting on a stage with people watching you.
Yeah, definitely. Then, those nerves are not rattling you.
Oh, for sure. What do you love most about what you do?
I think I was thinking about this because I knew you would probably ask me this question. I think helping other businesses or helping people in general is what really um drives my interest in social media, but then having a strategy to make it happen. It's like it's all on me and I can help this person. And so I'll find ways like, okay, it's like back to engineering. Like, how do I solve this problem? Like, what tools can I use to amplify their presence? Right.
Exactly. Or like someone else, like a situation will seem like so difficult just because they're not in the industry, which is super fair. But then you can look confidently say, oh, you just have to press this button. And they're like, oh my gosh, like you saved me hours upon hours.
Yeah. There's people that they can't create a reel. Like it's so hard. Like they don't get the concept of it until you show them that, it's like really simple. There's apps for this. All you do is just record, plug in, and then it's so easy. And then, just click. So helping somebody just with that little thing, like, that you saved the money because they could have gone to some, like video editing agency and then they would have charged them an arm and a leg every time they wanted to edit a video.
Exactly. Like I'm like that with other things too. Like I know what I can't do, and I know when it's time to ask for help.
That's great. So do you have a team that helps you?
Yeah, so I have an in-house team. We're all here in Toronto. So what we do for clients is their general social media management. A common misconception is that we do web design. That's not something we do. I do have a lot of friends who I'm grateful to ask for help though.
That's amazing. Was it hard to find a team?
I mean, it took a process, but now, I'm at a place where we're all doing very, very well. We're all very happy.
That's amazing. That's one of my next step or next goals is, to have a team here in Calgary.
Yeah, like take your time. There's no rush. Like, I don't think I hired my first person for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. You wanted to establish the process probably, right?
Exactly. And then even when you are ready, you don't have to hire them full time if you don't want to.
Yeah.
You can start with part time and then see how you feel.
That's a great point.
Yeah. How do you get most of your clients right now?
So I get inbound requests on LinkedIn and I'm also on Upwork.
Is there one platform that works better than the other, or is it kind of a tie?
Starting out, it was Upwork because I had no, like no authority, right? In the space and I didn't know exactly what the steps are to get clients. So on Upwork it was easy because it was all warm leads, but those leads are also looking for discounts on Upwork.
Yeah.
That was so you kind of have to almost with any business, I think, work in that initial stage, you almost have to give it away for free. And then you build the authority and then you can charge, which doesn't take much time. Like you do a few projects like the first 2 months and then you'll get paid clients.
No, I completely agree. I think you're absolutely right. Because you need some sort of a portfolio to show people, like, hey, I'm very good at what I do, and here's proof.
Yeah, portfolio is a big thing. Like these people want to see like how many clients did you work with? What kind of content did you do for them? So building that portfolio, you have to offer, your services for free almost, but it's worth it later on.
Oh, it's so worth it. It's like short-term pain, long-term gain.
Exactly.
Awesome. Are you on any other social media platforms, or is it just LinkedIn?
No, I'm on Instagram as well. I actually started with Instagram because that was the platform for retail because it's very visual and um, I'm still on Instagram. I do like it, but I feel like LinkedIn is just this almost like this gold mine. There's so many good clients there because people, obviously, a lot of professionals are on LinkedIn. Um, and there's not a lot of content creators. Like there's 1 billion um, active accounts right now, I think, on LinkedIn, and only 1% that are creating content consistently, like consistently. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So
It's crazy. So the competition is way less than, like TikTok or Instagram or other similar platforms.
exactly. Like Instagram, TikTok is pretty hard too because people, it calls itself an entertainment platform. So you really have to be entertaining if you if you want to be on TikTok.
I also tell people, like, you don't have to be everywhere in order to be successful.
Yes, that's a great point. Like you get on one platform where your ideal audience is and then learn it, like get really good, understand what people want and then expand. That's good advice.
Like, I'd rather see you doing absolutely amazing on one platform than average on like two, three, four.
Yeah. Where do you think a lot of your clients like to be which platform?
It depends on the industry. Most of the time, in my experience, is Instagram and LinkedIn, but I always tell people, like, do what works for you.
Makes sense.
And YouTube is a good one too, actually.
Yeah, I feel YouTube is great. Like I always go to YouTube if I don't understand something or like I have to figure something out. That is the platform I go to this day. Um, I feel like with YouTube, it's almost like the long game, where it takes a little bit of time to build, but then you'll have that audience for a while. Like on Instagram, I feel like you can build quicker and LinkedIn. Yeah.
I constantly think, like, how did I go to high school and like not have YouTube videos to help me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's even, in universities now, um, everything is like, I'm taking a course right now for digital marketing and they say like, okay, you can use ChatGPT, but if you use it, just please add it to your preferences because they know like they can't stop you from not using it because it's such a helpful tool, right?
I know. I was thinking more just like I could have used it to help me with math.
Yeah. Yeah, teach me how to do math. I didn't get it. Like I was half asleep in my class.
Well, I know, because like back in the day, you would have to get a tutor and like go in for extra help, and it was like, of course, very necessary. But now you could do it at home.
Yes. And then if you don't like, there's, accounts on YouTube that can break it down based on your learning style, right? That's a big thing.
Exactly. I learn things on YouTube like daily.
That's my next platform. I've decided that right now.
I know. Like I find Excel a little tricky, in my opinion. So I constantly go to YouTube to figure out how to do like the tricks.
Perfect.
And it's saved me so much headache. Do you use AI ever in your content creation process?
Yes, I definitely do. And I'm not worried that, AI is going to take over my job.
Yeah, me
Um,
neither.
I find AI is like a car, right? Like you still have to operate, but you don't have to walk anymore. You can just drive everywhere, right? Um, I use I use AI for research and I use it for writing, for both.
Yeah, and because you also have to know how to use it, right? Because you could type in the same question a million and one different ways and get so many different answers.
Exactly. It's prompt engineering is what it is. Write it in a way that will give you the answer that you need, for your particular problem.
Even like that one extra sentence, like make sure the social media post has a really strong CTA, could like completely make the biggest difference.
Exactly. My favorite one is rewrite grade 5 level.
Oh, it's
Like
funny.
you don't understand something or you want to like speak to everybody, you're like rewrite grade 5 level. Nobody understands sometimes. Like I always found that I had to write very professional and use these ambiguous huge words, but now it's like no, make it simple because people are going to get bored, right?
And it sounds more human too.
Yeah, it sounds more of a conversation, which social media is really a conversation and networking, right?
No, definitely. And LinkedIn again is great for networking too.
Yes.
Just like you never know the people out there who you'll meet who could like potentially be your biggest client.
Yeah, and it starts so simple. If you on LinkedIn, there's lots of content creators that are in my niche, for example, and then they'll write a post and I'll have something to contribute that maybe nobody else did. And then I contribute and then people will message me and say like, "Oh, you said this. Can you tell me where you found it or like can you tell me how to do it?" And then that builds a relationship.
It's funny you say that because I get a lot of requests, like connection requests, and they'll say, "Hey, I saw you commented on Bob's post that you feel XYZ. I feel XYZ as well."
Yeah. What do you say to them?
And I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome."
That's funny.
No, like it's super sweet, and I appreciate that because I don't love when people connect with you but they don't say anything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to have something in common or like spark a conversation, right? Because somebody, if somebody connects with you and says, how are you? It's hard to come up except with something like, except for good, how are you? Right. But if somebody starts with, hey, your comment said this, and then so you can get into a conversation.
I'm happy with just like a hijack and let's connect.
Yeah.
I think that's better than saying nothing. So you don't even know, like, hey, did they add me by accident?
I'm sure they did it because they give them an option, right?
Yeah, you never know.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, could be.
Personalization is important.
How do you feel about LinkedIn?
No, I love it. I feel like I've definitely gotten good leads other places. But LinkedIn is one of the strongest places, like in my experience anyway.
Yeah, and it's such a like an underrated right now. Like it's on for conquering the platform.
I know, like we never know like what could happen, a few years down the line. But while I'm enjoying it, I'm gonna use it. Yeah, like who knows? Like it may not be as popular. It may like who knows? But if something's working for you, just take advantage of it. Like why?
Yeah. Do you ever review your analytics in it?
Oh yeah, no, I think that's super important.
I think LinkedIn has pretty awesome analytics because I love the graph. Anything with a graph is good for me.
Yeah, like I don't look at it every 5 minutes, but I look at it maybe, I don't know, like once a week.
Yeah, that's good. Do you recycle the content that does really well?
I try to, yeah. I don't want to do it too much, but like a decent amount.
Yeah. And that's what ChatGPT is good for too. If there's a topic or content that worked well, you can just rewrite it, say it in 20 different ways, the same thought. And you can, schedule it and there's your content.
Oh yeah, and scheduling stuff is like I can't even find the words to explain how helpful it is. It saved me so much time.
Do you schedule in app?
I schedule either in the app or in another software. It depends like when I'm scheduling, if that makes sense.
Mm. Is there any software in particular that you like?
I like Buffer, I like Hootsuite. I think those are two pretty good ones, but there are tons to choose from.
Yeah, I didn't use those, but I use Metricool.
Oh yeah,
I
I use
like
that
that
one
one a
too.
lot. I like that it gives you percentages of when to post. It's pretty helpful.
Yeah, I feel like once you learn how to use one software, like you can more or less use all of them. Like they're very similar.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So you schedule or you do in real time or a bit of both?
I do I do both. I do like to schedule it in real time just because I like to engage before I do the scheduling because I feel like then, there's whoever's on right now and they see that I commented, they'll come back and they'll comment on my stuff too. So I feel that, yeah, before and after that it helps to build that momentum because I think that's what the algorithm is looking for, right? Like in the first hour, how many people are engaging? Is it interesting?
I feel that 100%. I also do like have the option to schedule. So let's say you want to schedule it at like a very random time. You don't have to be glued to your computer at like 6 in the morning.
Exactly. And there was an announcement on Instagram from the CEO. He said that it does not matter um, if you schedule your content or publish it in real time. Like for the algorithm, it doesn't matter if that's what you're worried about.
Yeah, no, that's super interesting. I feel like that's very good for a lot of people to know.
Exactly.
Awesome. Before we start wrapping up, do you have any advice or feedback or thoughts you want to share?
Yeah, I think that businesses have to get on social media. It's free. It's a way to build a relationship. It's a way to see what your competition is doing. Like you basically have the insights right then and there. So if you're a business and you're wondering like, oh, maybe social media is not for me and I'm very serious business, it's not like that anymore. Get
I
out there.
agree. I think you're absolutely 100% right. Like, if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you, but at least give it a try.
Exactly. And people like Jacqueline and I were here to help, right?
Awesome. Yeah, how could people get in touch with you? What's the best way to connect?
So you can get in touch with me via email, connect@sociallyformal.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn, Angelina Tadros.
Pretty. All of Angelina's info will be in the show notes below, so be sure to get in touch with her and connect with her on LinkedIn because she is fantastic. Thank you again for chatting. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Alrighty, thank you. Yeah. And again, to everyone listening, thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen. I hope you learned something new. And until next time, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.